Welcome to Design Domination, where you'll learn to become a better, more business-savvy designer so you can dominate your competition. Do you want to stand out from other designers, get taken more seriously, charge more, and win more work? I've done just that. Accessibility has been a game changer for my business. Check out my accessibility courses at creative-boost.com/courses. Hi, and thanks for tuning in. I'm Colleen Grotzer, and in this episode of Design Domination, I'm getting into 11 mistakes that hurt your freelancing business. Stick around to find out if you're making any of these mistakes and what to do about them. As always, I came up with the idea for this episode because I've made all of these mistakes myself. And since resolving these issues, I've had a much more pleasant business, a more profitable business, a better run business, and better clients. And I want that for you too. So let's dive into some mistakes that hurt your freelancing business. The first mistake is thinking that just because you work for yourself and it's just you, that it's not a business. As a freelancer, you have so many hats to wear. Business owner, marketer, salesperson, project manager, and designer. You've got a lot to do and to consider. You've got to bring in business. You need to pay taxes and other expenses. You need to make a profit. You might have certain legal obligations like registering your business with your jurisdiction or getting a business license. And you need a contract to protect yourself. Something else that can happen when you don't think of yourself as a business is that you let clients run it. You're not running your business, so clients do. And by that, I mean that maybe you don't create or enforce terms, because enforcing is just as important as creating terms. You know, like always getting money up front for every job from new clients and existing clients, following up with clients on late invoices, charging late fees, and so forth. If you're playing designer all the time and not thinking like a business owner, you might forget about these things that you need to do as a business owner, and then your business will suffer. Clients might take advantage because they don't take you very seriously. So you might waste time and you won't be as profitable. The second mistake is taking on any and all work or clients. Now, this is a big one because it has so many repercussions. It hurts not just you, but also your clients. You get so excited that someone's come your way, and I get it, but then everything else might go out the window. So let's start out with how that hurts you. You might take on work that you hate or that you're not good at. I used to take on email design and coding work all the time, and I absolutely hated it. There are just so many things to take into consideration with devices and browsers and email services. So I had to put an end to that. I started subcontracting it to someone who did it better and all the time, and who did it in less time. You know, with certain types of projects, unless you've done that work before, you might not realize what you don't know. You know, just because a client asks for it doesn't mean the answer is for you to take it on. When you take on work you're not good at or haven't done before, it isn't going to be profitable. You won't want to work on it, and you'll spend so much more time learning about it and trying to do it. You might even stay up half the night or neglect your family or friends for a bit to do it. It's a miserable position to be in. And sometimes the only way out is to resign the project, which makes you look bad to the client. Or you outsource it to someone who's done this work before, which ends up costing you more money. Obviously, with certain types of work, it doesn't matter if you've done it before or not. But if, say, you're a print designer who's never done any publication design and you think you can just take on a magazine design, you don't know what you don't know. You might figure it out after spending tons of time researching what's involved, but there are so many things you wouldn't necessarily know unless you've done that type of work before. So if you were to do a lousy job and spend an exorbitant amount of time on it, or end up struggling to figure it out or get it done on time, how would that be worth it? You might not even end up getting paid, and you've just earned yourself bad word of mouth instead. Not only that, you probably undercharged compared to what someone who understands this work would charge. So it wouldn't be profitable. And I say this all the time. If the work isn't going to be profitable, what the heck is the point of doing it? The point of having a business is to be profitable. It's not to take on every job or client who comes your way. Profitable doesn't mean getting more work and staying busy. It means knowing the project not only didn't cost you money, but that you made money on it, had profit afterwards to show for it. So you need to know when to say no or when to refer it or subcontract it out. A big business mistake designers make is waiting until you don't have work to do any marketing. This is the direct cause for feast or famine mode. When you're in feast mode, you don't do any marketing because you're too busy. But when you're in famine mode, you're more likely to take on any work or any client that comes your way. You don't have the power of choice, and it could be slim pickings. And that puts you in a vulnerable position. You're less confident, and that might come across. Sharks smell blood in the water, you know. You might lower your price, thinking that will help you get work. You might agree to work with an unrealistic deadline, or forego your usual process of getting a payment and signed agreement up front. Even if you're busy with lots of referrals coming to you, you're not in control when work is coming in or what work is coming in. And something else to think about with referrals is that they might expect to pay what the referring party might have told them they paid. So if they were referred a couple years later by a cheapo client and you've since raised your rates, of course that's fine and to be expected. But they might have been contacting you in the first place because of those previous rates. So don't put all your hope for new business in referrals. The next mistake that can hurt your creative business is getting creative business advice from unqualified people. It's common to want to ask family and friends for advice, but unless they're in a service-based business and they understand your situation, they don't usually get it. They have the best intentions, but their advice will be off. For instance, I used to complain to someone about a problem client. Their advice was to just suck up the verbal abuse that the client would put me through on an almost daily basis. I mean, why the heck would they have advised that? Because, they were my biggest client who made up the biggest percentage of my revenue, and the client's always right. Not. So only listen to people who've been where you want to be, business-wise or otherwise. The next mistake is pricing based on what other designers charge. Now, it's always good to assess your pricing every now and then, and even get feedback from other designers on their pricing. But when you ask other designers what they would charge for a particular project, you've got to also keep in mind that your level of expertise, your business expenses, the client's industry, the size of the client, the scope of the project, the deadline, and even geographic location might all be different from theirs. Those factors can greatly affect what to charge for design work. So you might think another designer is charging crazy money for something that seems like a dream or so out of reach for you. But maybe it's because they have much more expertise in that area. Or it was for a huge client, or their business expenses are much higher than yours. So it doesn't necessarily mean you should charge the same. Another mistake is not thinking you can charge enough until, and then fill in the blank. Until you're a better designer? Until you have more years in freelancing under your belt? Until you have more years of experience? And by the way, years of experience do not equal more knowledge. If someone's been doing something not so well for 10 years and someone's been doing it well for 2, well, which matters more? And then, until whatever other excuse you're telling yourself. Mindset issues are a huge issue with designers. We all have them at some point, but they will hold your business back. And again, I know from experience. I didn't even know I had these issues until a coach asked me some questions that led me to realize that personal issues that had nothing to do with business were causing a lot of my business issues. So get help in an online group or read a book or get coaching to get past self-limiting beliefs. And also check out episode 82, which is break away from these butts and stop wondering your worth. Another mistake that hurts your freelancing business is assuming that all clients are looking for cheap. Many designers assume this, and I used to too. But I'll tell you, in my experience, I was turned down many more times for pricing too low than too high. Not all clients are looking for cheap. When you price too low, the good clients run the other way. But they could go to Fiverr, you protest. Well, yes, they could, but who cares? What do you care what designers on Fiverr are charging? Let the clients who want cheap get cheap. Think of it this way. How many fast food restaurants are out there? Are there still other restaurants and 5-star restaurants and private chefs in business? Heck yes, fast food restaurants haven't led 5-star restaurants or private chefs to their demise. Not everyone wants fast food. Personally, I won't touch it, so there. Not everyone wants cheap. There are just as many clients out there who are looking for convenience. And by that I mean not doing it themselves even if they could. Plus value and expertise. And they're willing to pay for that. Also, another related thought about this is assuming that clients can't afford your services. Why are you trying to make up their mind for them about what they can or cannot afford or what they're willing to pay? Another mistake you might be making is making it hard for clients to work with you, to say yes to working with you. If you're making them sign paper contracts still, well, that's a pain. I can tell you that after I went from paper contracts years ago to electronic proposal software, specifically Better Proposals, my yes rate went up quite a bit. Something else to consider is your contract language. Clients probably don't understand a lot of the language in your contracts because, like Matt the lawyer says, it's written for other lawyers. If clients can't understand your contracts, that might be a deal breaker. Or maybe they will have to talk to their lawyer and have them review it, which is a cost to them. That just delays you getting the work, if you get it at all. Another mistake is thinking that you need to convince clients to work with you. That's when sales feels sleazy to both parties. People want to feel they made a decision on their own, not that they were pushed into one. If you have to convince someone to work with you, that means they don't see the value yet. And they may not ever. It means they're not ready to buy. Would you rather spend your time getting your positioning and marketing right and having clients come to you? Or would you rather spend time convincing clients that your work is worth such and such amount? Another mistake is not protecting your time. Now, this can be in several forms. You might be spending lots of time in consultations with prospects that you haven't screened. You might not be setting boundaries around your work hours and when you reply to clients. You might be agreeing to unrealistic turnaround times. When you spend lots of time in consultations with prospects that you haven't screened, you might be wasting time on tire kickers or those who aren't a good fit for other reasons. It also might leave the impression that you don't have anything else going on. But a lot of times people don't value what they don't pay for. So if you're giving away so much time and even your expertise free, it might be perceived to be low value. When you don't set work hours and then communicate them to clients, and then you don't stick to those boundaries and you start replying outside of business hours, well, they might come to expect that you'll reply anytime. And then they might get upset when you don't reply right away, or they might barrage you with emails or voicemail messages asking if you got their email. Let me tell you, fewer things are more annoying. It's very hard to untrain this behavior too. And if you agree to unrealistic turnaround times instead of educating the client on why that won't work, well, you're potentially setting yourself up to fail with not only that project, but also other client projects if those end up falling by the wayside as a result of you taking that project on. Putting up with bad clients is another mistake. I made this mistake time and time again. Bad clients suck the life out of you. They also suck up your time in collecting late payments, resending invoices, making excessive changes, make you defend every design decision, whatever the case might be. That's a whole nother episode on its own. In fact, it was 2 different episodes. But problem clients will keep you from spending your time on business building activities or serving your good clients. They keep you away from what you should be doing. Again, I've made all of these mistakes in my business in the past, and I want you to have a better business and not have to go through these, hopefully. Or if you are going through these, fix that. I hope this was helpful. And if you want to find out other business mistakes, I cover a bunch of others that pertain to pricing in episode 30. Avoid these 12 mistakes when pricing your design work. If you'd like help resolving any of these issues, just go to creative-boost.com and select mentoring and send me an inquiry, and I'll respond promptly. Are you looking to gain confidence, clarity, and a competitive edge in a crowded marketplace? I offer mentoring, resources, digital products, and courses, including accessibility for designers and web developers, that will empower you to be the design hero, not another order taker. Find them at creative-boost.com and come and connect with me and other design dominators in the Design Domination Facebook group.